Why do we dream of him constantly? We lost the scepter of lore. Hmm. How do we know when we'd wake up? Well, it probably wouldn't feel like this. Well, it depends on how creative the creator wants to be. Are you gonna just wake up in a bed, or are you gonna wake up in a room with a bed? This dream seems different, more real. Yeah, I think still this dream, definitely. Why am I appearing over and over in this man's dreams? Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence. I'm not sure why it's him. You're awake. Everything is much sharper, focused than before.
Well, hurrah!
You're awake. Meridoc. He shakes your hand with great enthusiasm. It is good to see you so well again. What's going on? We have no idea. You were asleep for a very long time. How long? Well, more than a week now. At first we thought you just had a bad reaction to the bitter leaf. That happens sometimes, but then you just wouldn't wake, so no matter what we tried, even old Drobim couldn't figure out what was wrong. It was a dream. This is a dream, isn't it? No, not to worry, my friend. At least you are quite awake. Wait, where are we? Housekeeping. In my humble home, you have been my guest, so to speak. We're in Norrenshire. Of course. Wow, your slumber has certainly clouded your memory, friend. It must have been all those nightmares. What nightmares? Oh, all kinds. You did a lot of talking in your sleep, you did. From what I could make out, it must have been quite a dramatic dream. What did I say in my sleep? Well, you talked a lot about someone called the Earlord, and kept saying that you're sorry. You called out my name many times, and the name of someone called Lorien. Or maybe it was Larian. What else did I say? Well, you kept talking about some evil woman called the Unmaker who was going to bring the world to an end. It was all quite dramatic. You should be aboard with things. Are you telling me that it was all a dream?
I would say yes.
Yeah, it's obviously not. Everything. The attack on Norrenshire. Our travels to the Shattered Peaks, the skyship, Hirathanum, everything. Sorry, friend. I don't know what you're talking about. All I know is that shortly after we came to Norrenshire, you fell into a deep slumber from which we could not wake you. I don't believe it. I don't want to start arguing with him. This obviously serves a purpose, but the question is whose dream am I in at this time? It was all a dream. None of it happened. That's right, as far as I know. You stumble back as you are overcome by an overwhelming feeling of relief. But obviously it's a dream, so where's the relief coming from? Oh, easy there, friend. Better sit down. No, I just can't believe it. Much as I'd like to, I can't believe it was all a dream. Murdoch looks at you with the perplexed expression you remember so well. I just can't believe that everything we went through, all of that has happened. Look, you've had a tough week. Maybe it was some kind of possession, just like Dropping speculated, but it's all over now. Really. But how would I know? I've been stumbling through dreams for so long, I've forgotten what it is to be awake. Well, then take my word for it. You're as awake as I am. How do you know that you are awake? How do you know that you are not part of someone's dream? A good point, yes. But you'll forgive me if I just assume that I'm real, okay? I'm sorry, I just can't believe it. It's too simple, too convenient.
Come now, it is a fine night. Let us take you out for some fresh air. Yes, I think that will do you a world of good.
Okay, I could use some fresh air.
This way then. Here. Come on.
Obviously, I'm not awake, so what's going on? Can this be real? I think that kind of illusion could be made, but not like this. Would be a nice middle finger to the player at this point, though. Continue with a completely different adventure or just end it here. Blue ball them as much as you can. This is true. This truly is. It truly is Norrenshire, just as you remember. Is it my dream then? Or is it someone who I already know?
I welcome and greet you.
Thank you. Who is it?
Well met, friend.
Well met.
Is it not a fine night?
Indeed it is.
A fine night to be alive.
Yes, my friend.
And all is well, you see. No murderous knights in red, no monsters and villains. We are at peace here in the valley.
Or perhaps it is just a delusion within my own mind. I can no longer be sure what is real.
Then breathe in deep, my friend. The scent of the apple harvest can still be felt upon the air. Is it not sweet?
Breathe in deeply. The smell is joy to your senses. Indeed, the air is so fresh.
See, can you not hear the singing of the birds, the rustle of the wind in the trees? How can you doubt that any of this is real?
I've been deceived too many times to trust anyone, even you, Meridak.
Ah, and look around for yourself. Smell the flowers, touch the earth with your hands. Take a swim in the clear waters. You'll see. You just need to let yourself believe it.
I'll try.
I'm so relieved. So come now. How about I buy you a hearty mug of bitter leaf to celebrate your return?
Sounds very inviting.
Excellent. Come with me then.
So, whose stream am I in? Is it truly just my own head?
Greetings and well.
Who is it? His home is warm and inviting.
Greetings.
Greetings. It's good to see you awake, Mr. Smellyman.
Thank you.
Now, if you'd excuse me, I'm rather busy. Many matters of mayorship to attend to, do you understand?
Of course, very well. Wonder if there's anything out of the ordinary. But it would have to be someone who's lived here, seen this. Normal hooded lantern. Here's key. Rats and the same shit. I'm not gonna bother with looting. But whose dream could it possibly be? Meridak at some point before he died, and after this Khan was slaughtered? All the people living here died in the Red Knight attack, so they would have no knowledge of these things. The disarray in this home seems quite deliberate.
Hello, hello.
Hello, it's you.
Yes, I have awakened.
Good, now we can be done with all that fuss.
You have any idea what happened to me?
Waves his hand dismissively, but who knows, probably something you ate. Maybe you had too much of the ale, eh?
I'm told I was asleep for a week.
A week, 10 days, what's the difference? I can't be expected to keep track of everything that goes on around here.
I had a very strange dream. It started here, in this township.
Yes, okay, very nice. I'm afraid I don't have time to listen to you talk about your dreams. Go find someone else to bother.
But the dream concerned you directly. Are you not curious?
No, and thank you. Please leave me alone now.
Mirror Dark might be a good choice for this. Once you pretend it never happened. Everything's okay, just a bad dream. But it would have to be something that happened in a different time again. Let's go to the bar. Clearly this isn't gonna go forward until we do. Luton Lager.
Listen up, I've got to say something here.
Mirror Dark, what are you up to now, you old devil? I have come to raise a toast to the health of my good friend Anya. She has braved the dangers of the forest of Ariel Glen to be here with us, just to make sure we are all safe.
Fancy a trophy mug. Thanks, Murdoch.
Oh, so the sleeper awakens at last. Good to have you amongst us again, my girl.
Good to be back.
And now, after a terrible and mysterious slumber, she has returned to us, good as new.
Raises his own mug.
Your health, Ania. May fate smile upon you, friend.
Fate indeed.
Refreshing, isn't it?
Indeed, it's quite tasty.
I never met anyone who didn't enjoy the hearty taste of our fine brew.
Indeed.
So tell me, Ania, what will you do now?
I'd like to ask you some questions if you don't mind.
Of course, what's in your mind?
Do you believe in fate, Murdoch?
Good heavens, no. Fate is what we make it, my friend.
So you believe you are in control of your actions, that your choices are your own?
Sure, those choices, whose choices would they be if not mine?
I don't know.
It is a strange question.
Suppose it's possible to see the future. Suppose that someone somewhere has the ability to see everything that will happen. Wouldn't that mean that all of those things are preordained?
Well, I suppose so, but nobody has that ability, do they?
No, I don't. I don't. The Dreamweavers didn't. They saw, at least not to my knowledge. They saw some events. The big part has always been similar to Uther Palandras is a living proof of that. He could not see all the possible causes and consequences. That's why his trap failed. The Dreamweavers of Hierathanum do.
I've never heard of them.
They're able to see all the time in one glance. I know, I've spoken with them.
Well, but that was a dream. It wasn't real.
What about my vision? What about the things I saw in my dream?
Well, they didn't come true, did they? It was just a dream.
Or perhaps they did come true, and all of this here is just another dream.
Elven nonsense.
Don't me. I have seen more than you can imagine.
Ha! Knocks on the bar. And I suppose this Mereldian oak is a dream as well?
Yes, and you as well.
That's a good one. I'm a dream. More like a nightmare, I'd say.
Believe it.
Okay, sister, whatever you say. I'll just be over here now, minding my business.
Fine.
Oh, come on, Anya. That's just crazy talk. Why would you think all of this is a dream?
Because I have been trapped within dreams for decades. Decades, Meridak. I am skipping from one dream to another, seeing time pass through the eyes of others.
I'm not sure what to say.
Just too simple, too convenient for me just to wake up and learn it was just a dream. To go through all that I've gone through and to see all the terrible things that I've seen.
What's so bad about it? If the things you saw were so terrible, why wouldn't you want it just to be a dream?
Hmm. It's not a matter of what I want, Meridak. It's a matter of what I believe.
Okay, so you believe that you've been some great hero out to save the world, fighting terrible monsters and exploring ancient mysteries and whatever, and that you're able to see the future and to travel through dreams, and that all this is just another of your nightmare journeys, and this is easier to believe than the possibility that you just had too much ale and fell asleep in my home and dreamed all this up.
Hmm. I know what is real, but clearly I don't. And yes, that's much easier to believe. Sometimes you can maybe not tell the difference if are you dreaming or not, but it also feels different if that makes sense. Certain things are never really associated or happen when you dream. So for this long period of adventure to just happen, with all the details and all of that, it wouldn't make sense. I know what is real.
Yeah, well, okay, as you wish, but I can't say I believe you.
Alright, never mind. Let me ask you something else. Actually, I should be going.
Are you certain? Or will you find a more peaceful and pleasant place to live your life? All the treasures of the world cannot compare to the comforts of home.
This might be exactly the reason why I'm seeing this dream. Why not just give up or settle down, let it be? You need to make a conscious choice to push this forward. Perhaps, but my destiny lies elsewhere.
Ah, destiny. There's no such thing, my friend. Our destiny is what we make it. So my papa always said.
Your father may have been right, but it's something I must learn for myself.
As you wish. I will miss you, I must admit. Although I've only known you for a short time, I feel as though we have been friends for ages.
Yes, Murdoch, I feel that way too.
Very well, a toast to you, my friend.
And to you. Drinks finishing his ale. Drink some of the ale.
Ah, well, if you ever happen to come to these parts again, be sure to visit us. The door is always open.
Thank you, I will. Farewell, dear Meridak.
Farewell, then.
We're gonna get a time skip. Well, I should be able to leave without any problems then. Your heart fills with warmth. There is such peace among these gentle hills. And so the story ends. You return to the Valley of the Four Corners for some well-deserved rest. Weeks passed, and you reflected upon all that you had seen. Was it all really a dream? In time, you returned to the life of adventure, and again you traveled the lands in search of mystery and legend. You explored abandoned ruins and ancient tombs. You fought against the evils of the world, and you prevailed. Your adventures brought you great riches and even greater fame. And in time, they brought you something even more priceless. Keys. And yet, deep inside you, a feeling remained. Something left unfinished. Something left undone. A growing unease haunted your days. The feeling that you are running from something. Something that cannot be denied. And so, after a year had passed, you could ignore it no longer. And again, you set your off eastward to Norrenshire to confront your fate. Right, which level do we take? I guess we're going to go with Arcane Archer. We're gonna hope that it'll lead. Wizard would be great though. We'll get Enchanted Arrows +2. It's a fairly quick difference maker. +1 arrows are sort of worthless. You feel as though in your heart you never truly left this peaceful valley.
Well, hurrah!
Look who it is. Anya! So good to see you, my old friend.
I still think this strongly that this is just a dream. The Merodach is not the Merodach we met at the start. Not at all. Very different type of character. Doesn't have the wanderlust anymore. It's good to see you as well, Merodach.
How long has it been? Almost a year, I should say.
Yes, it has been about a year, my friend.
So what brings you back here to our humble township?
I'm not sure, actually. The feeling that has been growing inside me.
Oh?
Feeling that something is unfinished, that something is waiting for me here in Norrenshire.
What do you think that could be?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, you're certainly welcome to stay and look around. I think you'll find my kin most hospitable.
Thanks. Can I ask you some questions?
Of course, what's in your mind?
Have there been any strange happenings around here? Anything out of the ordinary?
A visit from a knight dressed in great, perhaps? Winks?
No, I don't mean that. Anything out of the ordinary.
No. What do you ask?
I just have this feeling something is not right. You might still be in danger.
Oh.
You think it's okay if I look around, talk to people?
Of course, we halflings are the most hospitable people you will ever find. I'm sure nobody will mind. Well,
Well, what?
I guess Drobin might.
Who's Drobin?
Oh, he's just an old cotter living up in the hill. I've known him for all my life. He's a strange one for sure, and very cranky, but he's a good deep down. Trust me.
I think I should speak with him. Do you know where I can find him?
His home is up on the eastern hill. Can't miss it. He's got that looking tube up outside the home.
Telescope.
Yeah, that's what he calls it.
I'd better go speak with him.
Okay, but don't upset him. Oh, forget it. He's upset at any knock on his door. Just remember he's okay.
Sure. I'll see you later, Murdoch.
See you.
Oh my god. Pathfinding. Ooh. What the fuck was that? How? No.
Hello.
My name is Ania Melimian. I visited here about a year ago.
So
So I was wondering if I could look around here a bit.
look for what?
I'm not sure. But you can trust me, I'm a friend of Meridoc Permain.
A friend of Meridoc, you say? Well, that ain't saying much. Meridoc has all kinds of friends, brings them round from all kinds of places.
What kinds of places?
Far away places, beyond this valley, sometimes beyond even the forest of Arwell Glen. Trouble, I say.
I see, but I assure you, you can trust me. I'd just like to look around to make sure everything's okay.
Sure you would. I'm sure you'd make sure all my possessions are safely hidden in your pockets, eh?
You have me all wrong, sir.
Perhaps. Still, I don't think I want you poking your nose in my business. Go away.
You're hiding something, aren't you?
Nonsense. Now get out of my house.
You're certain he is telling the truth, and yet you also feel certain that there is something hidden in this house without his knowledge. Fine, I'll be going.
Goodbye, goodbye.
You sense that there is something back here, beyond the door. Stone ring fragment. Fragment of a large stone ring.
Hello, hello.
Can you tell me what this is? Show him the stone ring fragment.
What is what?
The stone fragment, it seems to be covered in some runes.
What stone fragment? What runes?
He squints at your hand. What do you think?
I don't see anything.
You don't see it. It's right there in front of your face.
Nonsense, your hands are empty.
How can you not see this thing?
I think you had better leave.
Very well, I'll go.
Goodbye, goodbye.
Now what? What is this thing? It appears to be a piece of a large stone ring. One of four, I would say. I need to find the other fragments, and I'm sure they're, well, here, hidden in Norrenshire. Ah, fuck. Breaking and entering. Here we go. They don't know what they are. Can't see them. I didn't bother exploring too much the first time, so maybe they were here all along. I'll leave no place unexplored, but I'll only take the fragments. This appears to be random loot. Remove blindness and deafness. I'll take this. Might be able to learn this later on. Although I have my doubts how long the game will still keep going. At the same time, it is so unfinished that it has to keep going. There we go. There aren't that many houses in the entire place. Murdoch's home. Let's go explore that. No. Hopefully we don't have to start fighting against the halflings, but if that's what we must do, that's what we will do. Did I already visit the mayor? Yes, I think I did. Have I ever visited some of these other houses? Maybe the first time. Okay, you're supposed to be going there and you decided to run where? Interesting. Obviously the optimal path. Has to be in the tavern then. Maybe Meridak has the final piece. No, I don't think I've visited here. You do shopping.
Greetings and well met.
Can you tell me what this is? Show him a stone fragment. Watch what? Yeah, they don't see through. It's an actual shop. Huh. I wouldn't want to spend too much money on this because I don't know if the money is real. Can I keep it after we get out of the dream? Ooh, this is suspicious looking. Stone fragments complete the ring. Which is where? And how big? Or is it a ring? It's in a very small item. I don't see anything. And vanish in an instant. Okay. You hear a woman's voice. I'm waiting for you, Ania Melinian. Meet me upon the western road. So It's fate fucking around with me. Someone else. Fate, it's her. It's fate herself. Your heart sinks when you see the being standing on the hill.
Warm winds.
So gently they bring you back to my doorstep. You. What are you doing here? Did you truly believe that you could escape me? So this is all a dream after all, isn't it? Of course. But indeed it is a beautiful one. He looks with admiration on the gentle valley. I can understand why you chose this to be your denial. This entire year, all of those adventures, false? Yes, all of those adventures were just attempts to distract your mind from the truth that you knew, deep inside. I suppose I knew this all along. Suppose I knew it was too good to be true. You are learning, my daughter, but there is still so much that you do not know. What? What don't I know? You cannot even begin to appreciate all of the things that you do not know. That you cannot know. You are like a child peeking through a tiny keyhole into a great library, only barely able to make out words on the covers of a few books, but there are thousands upon thousands of books held therein. The shape of the world is forever beyond your sight. Yes, I accept that. Good, then I would ask you something. Very well, ask. What is the measure of a woman's life? What is the meaning of her existence? I have no idea. Its meaning comes from the purpose behind her actions, from the will that guides the hand, so intention. Its meaning comes from the consequences of her actions, from what he brings to those around her, be it love, care, protection, or misery. Our actions define us. They're both sucky. You consequential consequentialism, it's just rubbish. You can't stare at your consequences, your actions. So these are both rubbish. They're the extremes of they're extreme moral theories that I don't think anyone seriously, well, not all that many seriously are backing anymore. Yeah, good intentions are not there. I think there are options here precisely because of their the extreme ends, and two, they're both easily countered by a reasonable counter argument. So whatever I choose here, she can basically, but say something that to basically counter that. Intentions are never enough, and I think that comes back to the reasonable consequences. You can't just ignore them. At the same time, you can't be held responsible for all consequences, not just consequences matter. Because or it also becomes an argument what consequences matter. Let's say I rape someone as an example, and I get to court. I get to it's not an issue here that am I guilty or not. It's an issue of punishment. Uh, let's say as a consequence, what good comes from punishing me at that point, and how to punish? The victim might very reasonably want me to be jailed for my crime, but at the same time, I could make an argument, and the court might agree that really nothing really good will come out of that. It was a mistake. I'm never gonna do that again. So why won't I just pay a fine and we call it, and that's it. Let's pay. I'm not sure what kind of a sentence would be in what the fuck is it in English? Basically, you are given a sentence of, let's say, a certain period of time, 8 years, a random period of time, that you won't go to jail, but if you commit a crime during that period, it will basically get translated to a jail sentence. So you don't get off entirely, but you don't have to go into jail for your crime if you basically never during a certain period of time after that judgment don't commit any crimes. If you can't do that, if you don't show basically to the court and society that have you haven't become a law-abiding citizen, you will be sent to jail. Well, the point of all this was that if you just stare at the consequences, you would generally aim at what's the most good you can get out of it. And just punishment might not be the most good, for example, but it would be a thing that most of us would probably object to. It's not always just about the most good or benefit you can get from the consequence. There are other things that matter, but things that might be very hard to measure in any serious manner. And you can argue, I think quite reasonably, do they even matter in all situations. So they're both terrible stances to take. Usually things are more nuanced no matter who you are. More typical would be like you believe in certain things like rights that shouldn't be ever broken, but at the same time it's not an absolute rule in the sense that you will never ever break it no matter what. You think it's a strong rule and you never want to break it, but there might be situations, extreme situations, where you're willing to break it because of the consequences would otherwise be totally disproportionate compared to the breaking of the rule. So you're gonna break it, but it's not a simple matter, and you always have to make choices and probably surrender yourself to the judgment of others afterward. To basically, so you can't just justify things to yourself. You have to justify them to others, to institutions that keep you in check, and so forth. So these are just terrible choices all around. 3 terrible choices. Pick one. I'll go with the intent. Its meaning comes from the purpose behind her actions, from the will that guides the hand. And if those actions do not yield the expected consequences, does the goodness of the will depend on the intention or the end? I think it's both. If I try to kill someone and it fails, it doesn't change the fact that I attempted murder. If I just shoot about a gun recklessly and happen to kill someone, it doesn't mean that I'm not to blame for the death somehow because I didn't intend it. So these are 2 extreme options to basically be defensible in any kind of realistic manner. But I'll stick with the intention for the purpose of this conversation. It is the intention that matters. And tell me, prophet, who is the greater fool? She who knows herself a fool, or she who believes herself a sage? It's always wise to be aware of one's own limitations. Yes, and she who acts without understanding the consequences is guilty of them just the same. I don't think so. You certainly carry some responsibility of them, and it all depends on how reasonable those consequences are of that action you did. That's why we have juries, I suppose, and judges. If it's reasonable, the negative consequence is reasonable, then you are in deep shit. If it's some kind of act of God that it turned into a negative consequence, you probably don't have to carry any kind of real responsibility for it. Hmm. She who acts without understanding of consequence is guilty of them just the same. Only through knowledge can your actions be moral. But the knowledge of mortals is never more than a sliver of the truth. I think. So what you're saying, that our actions cannot be moral? No, I'm saying that the purpose you wish to ascribe to your actions is not what makes them moral or immoral. The great chasm of ignorance between intention and consequence renders intention a fool's game, a blind man throwing a dice. No, the root of your morality lies not with your intention. Blind man rolling a dice, it's not that. That's a ridiculous thing to say. It's like it's like claiming you have no way of that's the intention is in no way connected to the consequence. But I bet if you take 100,000 people who intended something, that even though some of those consequences are horrible, the vast majority will more or less hit very close to the target of the intention. So I would expect better arguments from fate. So I'm sort of disappointed with the options. At the same time, my character is stupid as hell, so I don't know if she would know it any better. I mean, below average wisdom. At the same time, she's smart, so I think she should know better. Then where does it lie? All of your actions, the tiniest movement, the quiet whispered word, they are all part of a great and varied tapestry. That is where meaning comes from. Each act is placed to support the whole, and it is the placement that defines the act. But if it is as you say, then all of the acts are preordained, none of my actions are truly mine. That is correct, but it makes them no less moral or immoral, no less meaningful to the eyes of time. That makes no sense. I guess he's trying to say that even that my actions are my own, even though she knows beforehand what they are. So you mean my actions are moral or immoral, even though they have been preordained by a higher power? Yes, the sum of all of your acts, that is the measure of your life. That is the meaning of your existence. This is what you must accept. Why are you telling me all this? Because I want you to look within your heart. To be persuaded is to allow yourself to look within, and there it is your answer to your question that you shall find. So you ask me this because you already know what I will say. You just want me to say it. Yes. Very well. And now I have questions for you. Ask your questions. So is there no free will? Are all of our actions indeed preordained? She shakes her head in disappointment. Free will, such a naive concept. How can you say it is a naive concept? Because it is meaningless. It is a fallacy born from your limited perspective regarding passage of time. Yeah, I don't understand. Consider this feather. She holds up a bird's feather. If I release it, it may fall to the ground along one of 1,000 possible trajectories. It could land at my feet or at yours, or it could be carried by the wind for 100 yards. So what? In principle, its path could be unfold in 1,000 different ways, but you and I both know that it will in fact unfold only in one way. So observe. She releases the feather and it lands at her feet. You pick up the feather. The universe could potentially unfold in 1,000 different ways, but it only does unfold in one way. You understand this, don't you? Of course. Then understand that the difference between what could have happened and what did happen is only an illusion. It only exists within the minds of those like you who travel through time from the past to the future. What about the choices that I made? They, like the feather, follow the laws of causality. They are a product of the history from which you come and of the purposes toward which you travel. Would you have it any other way? Would you prefer your choice to be random? I think that's a false comparison. It also comes across with a lot of the options you're given. You're given only extreme options, like there's no happy middle ground or other options. So it's like someone Googled a moral question and then read some kind of an answer there instead of actually really trying to look into it. And Google has some wonderful articles about certain subjects, but well, they're like condensing a book into a page or two. They're not necessarily shit, but they're shit. Yeah, it's totally random versus preordained. No, I want my actions to mean something. I just don't accept the position fate is trying to impose here. The choice, it's a false choice. And they do. They do. But they are merely your playthings. What point is there in being merely a puppet? You are not my puppet. I am not the one who chooses the shape of time. I am its consequence, not its master. Who is the master? You have it backwards. Time is the master of us all. Consider her words. Let me ask you something. Was it indeed my future self with whom I spoke within the dream? Was it truly she who deceived me? Yes, it was she. Why would I do such a thing? Deep inside your heavy heart, part of you already knows the reason. Part of you already understands. Then tell me. No, your conscious mind is not yet ready for that burden. You still have much to learn. What is it? The Herezars found a way to defeat you, didn't they? What they found is nothing more than what you found here. She gestures at your surroundings, nothing but denial. So their plan failed. Their real plan was not to defeat me. Their real plan was to build a fortress of denial so great that they themselves could believe it, to hide within it, and to die in the belief that it gave meaning to their lives. What? They were just trying to deceive themselves. Yes, those among them who truly knew the truth knew that fate cannot be defeated, but for their brethren they created a mythology in which the acts of mortals can remake creation, as if the painting of a man can reshape the canvas it lies upon. But why? Why did they do this? I have to say at this point that I don't trust fate at all. I mean, I don't trust her as some kind of a ultimate objective party to this who sees all and understands all. She also is one player who has maybe a role to play, but she also has an angle. Why did they do it? To understand that, recall the question I asked you earlier. You mean whether the meaning of an act comes from the intention behind it or its outcome? Yes, the Heresars insisted that meaning can only become from purpose, from the intention of the actor himself. They refused to believe that true meaning comes from the placement of the act among all the events of creation. This belief could not stand against the facts of their own existence, facts they themselves discovered and catalogued with their great libraries, and instead of abandoning their belief, they chose to abandon their existence. They destroyed themselves. Yes, they sacrificed everything. They burned their books, destroyed the fruits of centuries of labor, murdered their own children, poisoned the very earth upon which they lived, and finally killed themselves, all to build a legend that would someday ruin all the world.
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
The legend of the Century of Sorrow. Yes, and in the 1,000 years since their destruction that legend grew so as to become reality, and all the pieces were in place, waiting for me. Yes, you are their final sacrifice. You are the one who completes their deception. Why me? Why did they not destroy the Penteract themselves? Because that would not serve their delusion. The act of unmaking had to be far from the days of their existence. It had to be sufficiently distant in the future that none of their puppets could see its failure. So all of this was for nothing? All of this was suffering for the sake of a plan that was doomed to fail? There is no greater folly than the folly of those who refuse to accept the reality around them. If the Heresars knew their plan would fail, why did they still do it? Because by doing it, by crafting it with such care, by making all those terrible sacrifices, they convinced themselves that it would succeed. Their fortress of denial was complete. I don't believe it. It is only your conscious mind that does not believe it. Deep in your heart you know I tell the truth.
One reason why I have a problem believing it is trying to get any kind of larger group of people to believe in any one thing in a sort of a unified manner is like a bird of herding cats. You're not gonna do it. You might be able to force some kind of pretend agreement to that belief, but you're not gonna get a real belief. So it's ridiculous for me to believe that a larger group, an entire society, would basically a large society culture would choose to self-destruct in such a manner in a very conscious, deliberate effort. No. No. Oh no.
You're lying. You're trying to trick me. Sighs with great pity. There is no greater folly than the folly of those who refuse to accept the reality around them. Fate is either trying to trick me or she's a terrible at persuading people. I don't want your pity. Then accept my help instead. Come, take my hand. I will lead you onward to your destiny. She extends her hand. Take it. You have a scepter of lore again. Apparently she didn't want us to have it during that particular dream. And I think I'll end things here because this shit just keeps going and going and going and going. I truly hope we're coming to an end to this soon.